common challenge for applications serving a global user base is providing content and notifications in multiple languages. Manual translation is not only time-consuming, but prone to errors and inconsistencies in style and tone of voice. Today, I'll walk you through how to build an automated CI/CD translation pipeline using Lingo.dev and Knock that will handle localized notifications for your app without requiring any manual translation work from your team. In this video, we'll introduce you to some tools that can help you scale your application to a global audience, automate translations locally using Lingo's CLI, and finally integrate that CLI into a CI/CD pipeline so that translations are automatically created when developers open a pull request. Lingo.dev is an AI-powered translation service that's relatively new but incredibly powerful. It allows you to specify a particular brand voice for your translations, which we've done for our sample application called GlobeWander in Adventure Marketplace. You can also fine-tune translations for your specific context and add custom words to your glossary to ensure consistent translations across your app. Knock is a notification infrastructure platform with built-in localization support. When you attach a locale to a user object, Knock automatically handles localizing your notification templates when provided with the appropriate translation files. It uses translation tags in message templates to display the right content based on the user's preferred language. Let me show you how this works in practice. In our Knock dashboard, I've created a new user signup workflow that uses translations. If we look at our postmark email template, you'll see I'm using these liquid translation filters that reference translated strings stored in our translation files. When we preview this template and switch between locales like English to Spanish or Spanish to French, you can see how the message automatically changes to the appropriate language. For Knock, when you pull translation files into your codebase with the Knock CLI, they're organized in a specific folder structure. We have a main translations folder with subfolders for each locale like ENUS, ES for Spanish, and FR for French. Inside each locale folder are JSON files containing translation keys and values. We can also use namespacing to organize our translations by feature or notification type. This makes it easier to manage translations for different parts of your application, like separating payment notifications from shipping or cancellation updates. To set up our pipeline, we'll follow the steps in Lingo's Quick Start Guide. First, we'll need to install and authenticate with Lingo.dev, which you can do by running this auth command in your terminal. After installing the package, we run the initialization command, which creates an i18n.json configuration file. In this config file, we can specify our source locale as English and define our target locales as Spanish and French. We also configure the file paths for our translation buckets, pointing to our Knock translations directory. Because Knock requires a specific file naming convention, I've created two include paths to target both the top-level translation file and any namespaced files. This locale placeholder can be used to extract a locale from a file path that can then be used to rename the newly created files. This helps ensure compatibility with Knock's expected file structure and gives you the flexibility if your translation files are stored using a different pattern. Let's test out our translation pipeline locally by running the translate command. In the terminal, you can see some of the output. The CLI tool connects to Lingo.dev and then proceeds to translate all the files, writing them to the paths we specified in our config object if there are any changes. In this case, since we didn't make any changes, Lingo.dev uses a translation lock file to basically reference the last version of the translation so that we're not making any unnecessary updates. For production use, we want this process to run automatically whenever changes are made to our translation files. And ideally, we'd push those updated translations right back into Knock. So I've created two GitHub action workflows to handle different parts of this, and it's worth calling out that Lingo.dev has their own GitHub action. The first workflow triggers when a pull request is open to the main branch. It checks out the repository, installs dependencies, then runs our translation process on any changed files. It then commits the translated files back to the PR branch. So this way reviewers can see both the original changes and the resulting translations before merging. The second workflow runs when a PR is merged into main. It uses the Knock CLI to upload all of the translation files to your Knock development environment and then commits them, which makes them immediately available for use in testing. So let's see this in action. First, I'll create a new branch. Then I'll add a new translation key for payment reasons. And after committing these changes to our new branch, we can open a PR and watch the automated translation process happen. Our GitHub action starts running, connects to Lingo.dev to translate our new content into Spanish and French. And then once it's complete, it commits these files back to our PR branch. Now, one of the really cool things here is that it only updates the files that have actually changed thanks to the checksum system in the i18n lock file. After merging the PR, our second workflow then automatically uploads the translations to Knock. So if we navigate back to the Actions tab and open up the Knock translations workflow, we can see this happening in real time. Now, when we check our Knock dashboard under the Translations tab, we can confirm that our new payment reasonings have been uploaded to all three languages, our original English content plus the AI translated Spanish and French versions. Pipelines like this can provide significant benefits for your development workflow. Developers can focus on adding content in one language, with translations handled automatically through CI/CD. And then you can maintain a single template in Knock with dynamic content that changes based on your user's language preference. All changes are version controlled alongside your code, providing a clear history of your translations. While the setup I've shown is kind of opinionated, you should be able to adapt it to fit your specific workflow. Lingo.dev also offers their own GitHub action, and one of the major advantages of using Knock for notifications is that you're not creating separate templates for each language. Instead, you scale through translation files in a much more manageable way than what many other notification providers offer. So I definitely encourage you to check out Lingo.dev for AI-based translations and Knock for notification infrastructure that makes localization straightforward and efficient. So thanks for watching, and knock on.